Well, good afternoon and happy Labor Day, everyone. I got my Georgia hat on because Georgia did it yesterday, but and I am a Georgia fan, but I'm a Georgia fan behind my family. They are so much Georgia fans, and I'm proud to be a Georgia fan. I really am. But I went to Florida State my first 2 years, and then medical college, and the medical college didn't have a football team. So, but what I'm about to do now, I want to show you this. I'm about to take a meatloaf out of the oven. So I wanted you to see it come out, and I wanted to, because I wanted you to see, there's a secret to it. All right, so when it's cooked and you think it's cooked long enough, let's just see here, it will have, juice that's going to cook out. But then if you leave it sitting here for a while, it'll soak that juice back up. So let me just cut it and make sure that it's done in the middle. And I'm quite sure it is because it's been in there. Oh yeah, that's done. It's been in there about 25 minutes on 400. So remember that, because I'm going to give you this recipe, okay? And you're going to get it in an email tomorrow. So, Overflow, Vita Rogers, and Beth McCall. Okay, so hey Vita, and hey Beth, and I don't know who else is on here. There's some more folks, but it's not letting me see y'all, so I'm sad about that. But anyway, I'm going to bring you over here to where I'm going to put another meatloaf together. I cooked that one ahead of time just so you could see what it looks like when it comes out. Really delicious. And I have done this recipe before. This is going to have a few little tweaks to it, I think, which my recipes always have little tweaks, in case you don't know. But anyway, so I've got the oven on 400. So what I've got here is 2 pounds of hamburger meat, and I put about about a tablespoon and a half of garlic in here. But normally I would put about 5 cloves of garlic in the 2 pounds. And I usually do 3 pounds, and here's why. Because we'll eat about a pound in one sitting, like for one meal, James and I together. And then I like to have some for lunch tomorrow, so I'll eat about a third of a pound. I'll take it for lunch, and then tomorrow night we'll eat it again. And you're like, well, don't you get tired of that? I'm like, what I would get tired of is hamburgers from a fast food store or Mexican. Oh my gosh, if I had to eat Mexican more than once a month, I just don't know. I mean, I like it, but it's just definitely not very healthy, and not something I want to have often, because it's usually, when I get it, I usually get the chilaquiles, which is just the chicken and the vegetables stir-fried. But, there's always those chips. There's always those things there that are just, they're just not healthy. So, yeah, and so don't poo-poo on me just because I don't like Mexican, but it's not that I don't like it. It's just not something I'm going to have regularly. Now, I do have a recipe that I cook, and maybe I'm going to do that soon. And I use Siete family, which they don't own it anymore, but it's made with flour tortillas instead of grains, all right? So here's what I've got. I've got the hamburger here, and then over here, I gotta unplug my phone. I got my phone plugged up because I think I got enough charge to get me through this live video. Sorry, y'all. All right, so what I've got over here is my food processor, and you see I didn't wash it after I did the last thing, but I'm putting in, this is about 3/4 cup, or 3/4 of a green pepper, red pepper, and yellow pepper. Now, this one over here only got red and yellow. And then when I look back in the bin in the fridge, I had a green pepper, and I'm like, okay, just go ahead and use the green pepper. You don't have any other plans for it. And, it's definitely going to taste different, but it's going to still be good. All right, so I dumped that over in there. I'm going to crack in 2 eggs. So here we go. 1. All right. Oop, and 2. So these, by the way, are your best eggs. These are some of the best. Let me just say this. So, oh well, I already put them back in the fridge. Happy eggs are my favorite, but these were another brand. And just, you want to check on there and see that it says pasture raised. So you don't want chickens that have been cooped up in a pen and just sitting there pecking all day. and they're pasture raised. Chickens are omnivores. They eat bugs. They eat all kind of things, and that's what makes their eggs, have the best nutrition. And you might think, well, pooey-tooey on nutrition, what about the cost? Well, if I'm eating, I want the food to be nutritious. I'm not so much interested in just having food. I want it to nourish my body. After all, that's what food is for. I would never pull up to the gas station and say, oh, let me just get any old gas. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be really good. No, I want it to run my car because I want to get where I'm going. And, I paid a lot of money for that car. My husband did. Paid a lot of money for that car. He gave it to me. It was a gift. And I want to take care of it because it's carrying me around, and my body is carrying me around. So I want to take care of it. All right. So here we go. Got that in there. So here's the other things that are going to go in there. So I'm going to put about a tablespoon of parsley. So there you go. And about a tablespoon of now any of these are optional. If you don't like any of these, you could even put cumin in there. You could put whatever you want, whatever spices, okay? But this is just what we like, so that's about a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of salt. Actually, I could just dump that over on the hamburger, which I think I will do. And then I'm going to put in some pepper, just a few shakes of pepper. And then we love red pepper flakes, so I'm just going to put in about... it's about a fourth of a teaspoon, or like 8 or 10 shakes, something like that. And then, okay, this is the one ingredient that I really like. Most meatloaf, you would put either soy sauce or Worcestershire sauce, but I put coconut aminos because it's healthier. It's not made with soy. So about a tablespoon of that. Now remember, this is enough for 2 pounds, not 3 pounds. So that one over there got the rest of the ingredients. All right, so now I'm about to put a big squirt of mayonnaise. Okay, so that's about a fourth a cup of mayonnaise. And then I'm going to put about a tablespoon, a tablespoon of, I'm about out of this. Let's see if I got another one over here. Yep, here we go. My special brother, Tommy, he grows these olives. Now, he does not make this balsamic vinegar, but he does make the olive oil. So I'm putting about a tablespoon of that in there. This is his olive oil, Terra Dolce Farm. So if you ever want some really fresh, cold press olive oil, I watch him work in it every day. So go to their website, Terra Dolce, TerraDolce. It's in Lyons, Georgia. Okay. All right. And okay. So then the other thing is a half a cup of blanched almond flour, okay? All right, I'm going to give this a whirl. Doesn't take long. I just want to chop all that up. Some recipes call for, not enough, call for sauteing the vegetables, but I don't see a need to do that. I really don't. All right, so I'm just going to take this out and dump it in here. Let me chop this here and get this over here. So I like to get every little bit out. So let me turn y'all around so you're not looking at my body. You're looking at the cooking. That's the whole point, right? Okay, here we go. I love my Cuisinart. This is my second one. The first one lasted 41 years. And the motor still works, but all the attachments were breaking. And when I looked at the price to replace all those attachments, it was going to be like $100 and something. So we were at the state fair. Gosh, that's been 3 years ago, I guess. And they had them there. They were demoing there. And James said, let me just get you one. So he got me a new one. All right, so I'm taking my hands and I'm just mixing this up, all right? And then I'm going to go ahead and put this Parmesan cheese, so that's about a cup of Parmesan cheese, in 2 pounds. So remember, this is going to make 2 meatloaves, or at least the way I do it, okay? So I'm just putting it together here. I'm not going to, mix it. Well, I'm going to mix it pretty good. But I like the fact that it was all mixed up in the food processor beforehand so I don't have to worry about. Now this one, I didn't mix it as much, so there are some clumps of green pepper in here, but that won't hurt anybody, will it? No. James would never say, I got a clump of green pepper. No, he'd just eat it. He's just thankful to get it. I'll say, what do you want to eat? He said, I don't care. I'm like, well, I don't know how to cook. I don't care, but maybe I'll cook some meatloaf. What about that? And he'll say, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's good. All right, so I'm going to move this over to here. And then I'm going to move the other one over to the other side. And then I'm going to move this out of the way. I try to get them halfway in between, but it may not totally happen. All right, I'm going to push that out of the way. And I got my oven on 400. So what I'm going to do, here's what I do differently probably than you have done before. And I learned this from Bobby Flay. You know Bobby Flay, the chef. I like him. I like his cooking. I mean, you know, is I flatten it out. I don't make it like a loaf. I make it more flat. And the reason when I first did this, I'm like, this is wonderful. Because if a meatloaf is up high, big loaf, it's going to take an hour to cook it. And I don't want to be cooking something for an hour usually. I haven't planned that far ahead. I don't know about y'all. But I'm like, okay, let me get in the kitchen, 30 minutes before I'm ready to eat. And let's have a meal. So here we go. And then what I do also that's different that you may not have done before is I poke holes in it. And what that does, I just take my finger and I go all around it and I poke holes just like that. And what that does, I even go on the sides and I poke some holes. It just kind of allows air to get, especially in the middle, I kind of go deep. Because, the last thing you want is to get into the middle of the meatloaf and it not be done. I don't mind if it's a little pink, but I certainly don't want it not done. Because it is hamburger, and that's not the best opportunity. Okay, there we go. All right, I am going to, and then on top of that, now normally, well, I do it different ways, all right? I'm going to go ahead and smear this ketchup and balsamic vinegar. That's what this is. Ketchup and balsamic vinegar. I'm just going to put it on the one because I don't have it made up yet. And then I'm going to let it cook about 10 minutes and then I'll take it out and put some on the other one. You think, why are you doing that? It's just kind of an experiment for me, really, because I kind of want to see what happens. What's the difference? Okay, I'm going to have to move you around a little bit so that I can. Now, if you're wondering what's in those red jars back there, okay, 400 degrees. All right, let me wash my hands off. I can't really do this because I just mixed up all that. All right, if you're wondering what's in those red jars, I'm fixing to tell you. And some of y'all may have seen this before. If you're in my group, you've definitely seen it before. Okay, so all right, so let me just bring you up here and show you this. Okay, so I've got another little trick here I want to show you. Okay, so while that's cooking, and let me turn my timer on. I'm going to put it on 25 minutes, which should be enough. But I promise I'm not going to keep you 25 minutes. That's why I did that one ahead of time to show you what it's like. Okay, so let me see who all's here. So there's Wanda, there's Ian, and Deb, maybe Deb, Sharon, Kathy, Danny, Paula Jean, Susan. I'd love for you to tell me where you're from. Coconut Aminos. All right, so that was a question. So here it is. Where it is. Okay. So coconut aminos are, it's made from coconut, and it's a substitute for soy sauce or Worcestershire sauce. It's just kind of got that flavor to it. So I use that in hamburgers. I use it in anything that would call for soy sauce or Worcestershire sauce or, so, meatloaf, that sort of thing. All right. Let's see. Linda, Susan, Pamela. Do you have a cookbook? I do have a cookbook. Where is it? I was going to show you. And you're not going to like this answer. All right, here's my cookbook. All right, and what this is recipes that I put in here. And people that were in one of my, really about 5 years ago, in my challenge, they gave me recipes that they liked. And I made this cookbook, and I had someone that typed it up and all for me. And I had 500, I don't know, maybe I had 1,000 of them done, and they're all gone. And so if I can find someone that will type it for me and redo it, because you gotta format it, I'm gonna have some more made. It cost me about $9 a piece just to have them made, which is ridiculous. I mean, it is 80 pages, but you know, it's a tiny book. So if anybody on here wants to volunteer, I'll even pay you to format this book for me. I will give you a free one for sure, and I will pay you. But anyway, so a lot of my recipes are in that cookbook. But I also have a YouTube channel, Dr. Nancy Stanley, and if you just go there and put in meatloaf, you'll get me doing a demo of the meatloaf. And once you join my email list, I send everything I demo, I send it out in an email. You know, I send the recipe, or almost everything. So tomorrow, if I get around to it tonight, I will, which I'm planning to, I'll take this video off, I'll put it on YouTube, and then I'll also put it in an email, and I'll put the ingredient list, okay? So you'll have it. Because I know that's kind of frustrating. You're like, well, hold on. Before we do that, I'm going to taste that meatloaf. And I know it's good because it's a recipe I've made over and over, but I don't want to tell you that it is delicious. So here we go. This is kind of what it looks like. There you go. Yes, it is delicious. Yes. I look forward to having that for lunch tomorrow. I'm not really hungry tonight because I just ate something, so, but I'll definitely love that tomorrow. Okay. And there are varieties that you can add pork to it. You can add, I mean, people add all kind of stuff to meatloaf, but you know, adding that green pepper is going to totally change the taste. I don't like onion in it. I really don't like green pepper in it. Bobby Flay's recipe has zucchini in it, and I have done it with that, just one zucchini chopped up in that food processor like that. He actually sautés his vegetables before he puts them in, but I don't see any need for that. I don't see that it changes the taste at all. Okay, so there's my cookbook. I was looking through it earlier, and I found last night we had a Zoom call with my people that are in my 90-day challenge group. And by the way, you're going to get a chance to join that. I'm going to be starting a new group at the end of the month. And so I'll be, promoting that. And if that's something you think you want to do, you just keep following, you keep watching, and I'm going to open up. I don't typically let people in all the time, although if it's kind of an urgent thing, I will. But really, I like to do it in what I call a launch, where more people will join. So get on my email list so you can stay abreast, because I'm going to be giving things away. That last week in September is when I do what I call a launch. And then I'll open up the doors for, people to come in. And I like to do it that way because it's really fun to have, a group of people starting together and kind of encouraging each other. So I've got about 25 in a group right now that'll be finishing up here real soon. But anyway, so somebody said, one of the new people said, I just don't like any vegetables. I don't like broccoli. I don't like this. I don't like that. And another one of the girls spoke up and said, if you will make Nancy's veggie casserole, you will love it. And so it is really good. I'm sitting here looking at it now. And that is a really good recipe. Yeah, broccoli casserole. So I'll make that. Maybe I'll make that one night this week. Okay. But there are definitely some recipes in here that I want to take out that I think maybe are a little dated, and then put some new ones in. Like what I've got written on my book here is, this one is blue cheese dressing. I'm going to put that in here. You want this blue cheese dressing recipe if you like blue cheese. And then the other book I had a while ago had my magic cookie recipe, and it's so delicious, and it's keto friendly. All of these are keto friendly. And then there's a recipe for bread in here. Now we know we make chaffles for sure, but these are keto biscuits, and my family says this is the closest thing to cornbread that they've had. Okay, So that's a good one too. So I know I'm tempting you with all these things, but we'll get to it, okay? All right, so, but I did want to share this with you. So you might be wondering, what is that? All right, so what that is that is the amount of blood you have in your body, okay? So it's about, I don't know, it's different for everybody depending on how big you are and all that, but we'll just say 3 to 4 liters, all right? And so if I were to check your blood sugar, all right, and you had 9, and it was 90, which is a good number, okay? That I checked mine twice today, and it was 90. The amount of sugar that would be in my bloodstream would be about a teaspoon, all right? So about 20 to 30 grams of sugar, all right? So I don't know if that's how much is in a teaspoon, but anyway, in a day, that's how much we need. The average person takes in about 300 grams of carbs in a day, which turn to sugar, which then turns to fat. And so if you think about it, if Amazon showed up at my house tonight with a case of toilet paper, and they showed up every day for about 30 days, I would have a problem eventually. I'd have to figure out where to store it, because we don't use that much toilet paper. And the same thing with sugar. What you take in, the carbs that you take in, above about 30, 40, 50, depending on how much you exercise and, your body weight and all that, depends on how much you store. And what you can't use, what your body can't use. Our bodies are amazing machines. What we don't use, it stores it as fat. And for women, it typically, and men too, after a certain age, it stores it around the middle. And that's why you think, why do I have this fat around the middle? Why doesn't it go? Some people it goes to their hips, some it goes different places, but most everybody that's insulin resistant, pre-diabetic, all of that, you've got that roll around the middle that you can grab up, okay? And so what I do in my program is I help you to learn how to get rid of that. And we get rid of it by not storing it, okay? Let's see. This was ketchup, not mayonnaise. That was ketchup, not mayonnaise. Did I say mayonnaise? Okay. Yeah, that was ketchup. It certainly was ketchup. Hey, Cindy. Let's see. Kathy. I'm trying to see who else is on here, if anybody's saying where they're from. I love to see where people are from. McGraw is watching. All right, there we go. Okay. Thank you. Charlotte, I see you on here. Let's see who else. Gosh, got a big crowd on here. Okay, good deal. All right, before you leave, I want you to put where you're checking in from. Okay, let's just say that. All right, so if you can imagine, just think about a bear. When they are getting ready to prepare for winter, they eat a lot of berries and fruit and all that, okay? And the reason they're doing that is they're trying to put fat on their body. And so that, because they're going to sleep all winter and their body will use that fat. And your body will do the same thing. But if you keep storing and storing and storing, in other words, if every day your carbs are above 50, 60, 70, or they're around 300 or 200, then that's a day you stored. It's kind of like you can't go to Belk's or TJ Maxx every day and it work for your checking account. You're eventually going to deplete it. Well, our bodies are the same way. You can't take in more than your body needs to use for fuel, and it not store it as fat. So that's what happens. And then, as we get older, I'm 68 years old, we don't burn up the same amount of calories. Now, I burn a lot of calories because I'm going all day long. Like after we get off this, I'm going outside. I'm going to plant some plants that I just went and bought. I'm excited about that. I told my husband, I said, I don't need any more clothes. I got all the clothes I'll ever need. I just need more flowers. Yeah. Okay. If Kathy is spelled this way, I am from Cumming, Georgia. There you go. Kathey. Okay, so I know right where Cumming, Georgia is for sure. It's up there near my daughter. She lives up near Athens, in that area up there. Okay, so All right, now, since we've got a little time and you're still here, I want to show you this. So this, we'll pretend, is a cell, all right, in your body, all right? And so on the inside of the cell is your mitochondria, and energy is made there. So the mitochondria is like a battery in your cell. And that's why we want to eat good food. That's why we want to get sunshine in our eyes. That's why we want to exercise. We want to keep those mitochondria healthy, all right, and moving. And, you know, sometimes they die off, but then we should be able to make more, all right? But if we've got too much sugar in our blood, and that's carbs, all right? When I say sugar, I mean carbs. So that's going to be bread, potatoes especially, bread especially, pasta, Debbie cakes, donuts, cereal, rice, all those things that make your blood sugar really go up high, and then it's going to usually drop down really low. But like potatoes, they're going to raise your blood sugar up and keep it up for a while. So sometimes it's years, sometimes it's a decade, you know, for different people. But, you know, you've been going to the doctor all this 10, 15, 20 years, and your blood sugar was always good. He just checked your blood sugar, and it was 100 or less, which was good. Maybe it was creeping up a little bit, but nobody really said anything. Then you start checking your A1C, and you're like, okay, it's starting to creep up. You know, you want it, or, you know, down around 5.2, 3, 4, something like that. But then it gets around 5.7 and 5.9 and 6. And then I've seen people that it would jump up to like 12, or, I mean, you know, really dangerous level. What that is a measurement of, that hemoglobin A1C, all right, is a measurement of the red blood cells that are floating through your vessels that are glycated. In other words, the sugar that you had in your blood has stuck to them, and they're bouncing along, and they're sticky, all right, and they're going to clog up your arteries, all right. So your insulin is responsible for pulling that sugar out of your blood and getting it into the cell, because the cell needs it for energy. But what happens is, after too much sugar, too much, the insulin receptors, that's what these little orange things are, they're like, okay, we're done, and they just quit working. So you don't have those receptors on your cell, so there's nothing to grab the insulin, or it attached to get inside the cell. So you don't have any energy. When you're low energy, that's because you're now insulin resistant, and there's no mechanism to get all that sugar that's in your blood into the cell to make energy, okay? And so that's a problem, okay? And that's when your A1C is elevated, and that's when you are pre-diabetic and diabetic. But I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, your doctor may not have told you, but if you've got a bunch of fat around the middle, and your BMI, like your waist circumference, is 36 or more, you know, then you're in trouble already, okay? And so it's time to reverse that, and that's what we do in my program, is we reverse your insulin resistance, we reverse that A1C, we get all that going, we help you with your sleep, we help you with your hormones. Well, I don't help you, but I coach you in where to get help for that. And by the way, for those of you who were on my call last night, on my Zoom call, on my private Zoom call, I will be posting the video of the hormone lady. Okay, so that's what this is just, it's another visual to help you see that you just can't continue to eat unhealthy carbs. Too much fruit even is going to keep your blood sugar up. It's going to elevate your blood sugar, and you're not going to be able to metabolize it, all right? It's not going to be able to get in there. And so you think about how many, if you're low on energy, if you're depressed, and then there's more to it than that. But if you've seen my cravings video, it explains a lot about what happens with your gut system and how it breaks down when you're putting all these toxins in it. But anyway, that's enough information for today. I'm getting ready to take that other meatloaf out, and we're going to have dinner. So, you know, I could have a salad along with that, but honestly, it's already got vegetables in it. So, you know, sometimes Jones and I'll just eat that, and it'll be good. All right, so before you leave, I want you to hit the love button. Let me know you're here. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I think I may do that. What do you want me to do? Tell me on here. Maybe I'll pick something out. Because, you know, the hardest thing about cooking to me is deciding what I am going to cook. That's always the hard part, is what do we want? What do I want? Whatever, you know. So, yeah. So thanks for sharing some love. Share this video with somebody that maybe needs a good meatloaf recipe. All right? So, y'all, let's talk soon.